This is Bridget Kelly, and you're checking out my boy, David Duane.
What's going on, everybody? Thank you for tuning back into On Air with your one and only rock star, the mighty David Duane, in the place to be right here and right now. We've got our favorite. Yeah, I've got to say she's our favorite because, first of all, this woman has been doing her thing for years. And I'm talking about Bridget Kelly, yes, the amazing songstress. And you guys have seen her on Love and Hip Hop, but guess what? She's so much more than what you guys seen on television. She's an amazing artist, and guess what? She's back with us. What's going on, Bridget?
Hi, I'm good, baby. How are you?
So great, and so glad to have you back. Thanks for coming back with us.
Of course, absolutely. You know, I gotta hold my big ones down. You know how it goes.
Yes, definitely. And let me tell you, even though you're getting a lot of hate about being on Love and Hip Hop, let me tell you, when I first saw the press release announcement, I was like, yes, 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 yes. I'm all for it. And I love the fact that you're utilizing this platform to really, build on your fan base. I'm not saying you didn't have a fan base, but you're at the point where you want to build, you want to let people know that I'm about to drop this album and I need y'all to hear it.
Yes, I mean, I feel like ultimately that was the purpose of the platform, and I think it's gotten skewed because a lot of people don't do music for real.
Right.
They do music they're playing around with it. It's something that is a hobby. It's not necessarily something they get paid to do. So, I think it was refreshing, I think, to have this season, especially on Hollywood, some real artists. You know what I'm saying? I think having Keisha Cole be a part of it, Brooke Valentine, myself, Lyrica, I think, it really it sets the bar a little bit higher than I think what some of the past seasons have done. And for women especially, despite whatever you see on television and
right.
cattiness and petty behavior or whatever, at the end of the day, we're still artists. So, if we're not promoting music on that level and on that platform, then it would defeat the purpose.
Exactly. And I know that, Love and Hip Hop, they have been reaching out to you for years to, do this show and stuff like that. Taking this time to finally say you wanted to do it, coming out of the relationship with James. What made you just want to go ahead and do it at this time?
I felt like I was kind of at a crossroads, deciding whether or not to, really cement myself in L.A., stay in L.A., or come back to New York and really, just kind of come back home and start over here. I think I felt like I was embarking on a new phase and a new chapter, and I was feeling like I was ready to experiment, working with Ray J, obviously, and he's in L.A. So it felt like I had hit a wall, and I wanted to continue to create music and continue to write and continue to be an artist, but also try to solidify my relationship, you know what I mean? And that's really hard to do at the same time. It's hard to balance those two things, and it just felt like the right time to give people a glimpse into what that looks like for me. You know what I mean? I think
exactly.
People kind of know who I am a little bit, but obviously not as many as the Love and Hip Hop audience reaches, but
right.
It was a good chance for my current fans and for also, anybody that's never heard of me to kind of see more of my personality. You know what I'm saying? Like they can go back and do research on the records, they can do research on my tenure in the industry, but at the end of the day, people don't really get to see who I am, and I think I was really trying to showcase a different side of myself.
Exactly. And you know what? I feel like that's important that you did that because, you as an artist realizing, coming from also being a songwriter and being behind the scenes and then, wanting to step out, do the music, full-fledged and let people know, like, I'm the one that's behind some of your favorite artists writing these songs.
Right.
And that's important because but so long how many years are you going to be behind the scenes writing? And that's with anybody, even being a producer. Yeah, at some point you've got to get out there and you've got to say, hey, I'm releasing my own project, so I got to commend you on that because that was brave. And you've been doing this. And I got to say that one more time. Bridget has been doing this, people. Y'all call it her auntie days, but I call it that music was hot motherfucking days, okay? And there were two things that you brought up, and I wanted to address it because a lot of people were very confused, with, the Pussy So Good record, with the Ray J and stuff like that. People don't also realize that you and Ray J are working with the same management.
Right. So from that perspective, I mean, we have a lot of mutual ties, and ultimately, we experimented. It was not. We did a lot of songs. We did a lot of music, but ultimately, Pussy So Good was not for me. But I tried it.
Right.
I think I'm an artist that has had a very specific lane, and I've been, operating and functioning in a very specific box for a long time, and so. doing something like Pussy So Good was very out of character from what people have seen from me, which was also why I did it, because I said, okay, well, I'm not afraid to go a little left. You know what I mean? Even if it doesn't work, okay, it doesn't work. Like, artists like Nicki Minaj came out wearing, like, chicken wings on her necklace. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
She had 15 different shades of hair. Like, she was experimenting. And I think as an artist, you have to do that. I think it contributes to your journey. I think it contributes to your growth. And, when you're not afraid to take those kinds of risks, even if it doesn't work out, I think that it works out. It ends up better for you in the end anyway. So, we ended up not using that record, not going with that record, but I made other music that I'm happy with in the interim. So that's what I'm at.
And let's take it, a step back, because we definitely, it's been a while since we talked, and the last project you put out that I absolutely love, Summer 17. People, if you don't have it, you need to be downloading while you listen to this conversation right now, because I love it. I feel like we can hear a lot of growth with the project. I mean, my favorite from the album is My Kind of Life.
Yeah.
And Run After You. Like, when you even hear you perform those records, because I've seen you perform, over the years, and you perform those records, and the energy with saying such messages, with these songs is so amazing. What were you feeling at that time of, working on that EP?
I just felt like I wanted to maintain some youthfulness, despite the fact that I was approaching 30 at the time. You know what I mean?
Right.
I wanted, a lot of my friends are married with children now, so I'm in a very different space. I was in a very different space then. That was the life that they were planning for, and I'm still not ready for children. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm still not ready to kind of sit down and focus on a family, and that's not where my focus is right now. So I just think, it was a fun kind of acknowledgement of the fact that, regardless of whatever age I am, regardless of whatever society thinks I should be doing, I'm really living my life the way that I want to live it. And, I called it Summer of 17 because it was an homage and ode to my 17th year of life. I felt like when I was graduating high school, everybody was doing the same thing. It was like everyone was afraid and trying to get ready for adulthood and go to college and be mature. And I was sitting there like, no, I really don't want to do any of those things. I really just want to go to the beach. I wasn't in the same sphere as a lot of my peers. And I feel like I'm still in a similar space. You know what I mean? I'm still grappling with relationships that didn't work out, and trying to figure out where I fit in this world, if I'm going to come back to New York or stay in LA, if I'm going to do another season, if I'm not. And, you know what I mean? There's a lot of decisions that I need to make. And I feel like I'm always in a pickle. Like, it's always a choice I got to make. And I think I'm taking everything as it comes. So I think I'm still in a similar space as Summer of 17, but, I'm a little bit older, a little bit wiser. The last 2 years have been really, really trying for me. So I'm definitely in a better headspace now.
Exactly. And we'll definitely talk about relationships and like that, but I want to talk about the record Maybe, because I think a few times you've seen me tweet and I've been like, I'm listening to this Bridget Kelly playlist of mine and I'm about to bust out crying. I've been listening to Maybe and Happy for Me. And that's what's been making me cry, by the way. So, because those records, and I got to be candid with you because we go way back, and I've got to be candid with my audience too, because you write these records that are very relatable to men, women. It doesn't matter what age, it might be, or what you might be going through, because we all go through the same, almost similar situations, if not the same thing. We go through those good relationships, those bad relationships with Maybe, because, girl, I can tell you about a situation that I've been through that. What was the mind state? Like, what drew the inspiration for that record?
Maybe was about James. Maybe was about, being in a space where, regardless of what it looked like, I was trying to let my faith lead me, because I really wanted to be with him and find my way back to him. So I was hoping that maybe we could, figure out if that was ever something we could revisit. You know what I mean? And then cut to a year later, it turned out that we were, kind of hanging out and chilling, and, and then we ended up back together for a while. So, I think I'm a hopeless romantic. I think I have an endless optimism about love and about romance, and Maybe was really just a moment of me saying, like, regardless, my heart still belongs to you. You know what I mean? Like, you still, even after all this time, whether we're together or not, whether we're in each other's lives or not, whether we speak or not, like, you still have my heart. So maybe we could feel, maybe you could feel a little love this time. Like, maybe even as friends, there could be a semblance or a moment of a glimmer of something that, you may want to rebuild or revisit. So that's all that was.
Exactly. And what was common, correct me if I'm wrong, with the relationship, you both had cheated in this situation, correct?
Yeah.
So now, being that you were in a relationship where you both made the mistake and so that, what kind of advice can you give to people that are, either your age or my age or even a little bit older that are going through situations where, cheating has happened in their situation?
I mean, I think relationships are complicated. I think they're tough, and the older I get, the more I realize how accurate every adult was in my life, telling me take time to get to know yourself and be able to take care of yourself and be who you are before you enter into a relationship. I understand the weight of that now because it took me a while to confront and be honest with myself about who I was and what I had done and what I wanted. And I find that things get lost in translation when you're not honest with yourself. I think people end up cheating, and I say it all the time. I think cheating is a very individualistic trait. Behavior. I don't think it necessarily has anything to do with being unhappy in a relationship. I think it has to do with being dissatisfied with what's going on internally in yourself, in your own life, whether it's your ego, whether it's, you feel like emotionally you're afraid to completely trust the person you're with or completely be open, so you keep something on the back burner. I think everybody who has cheated, it's a reflection of who they are and where they are in that space and in that time. I think with my relationship with James, I cheated because I wasn't happy with everything that was going on. When we broke up, I had just left the label. I had just fired everybody that I started with. Like, I was going through a quarter-life crisis. You know what I mean? And
exactly.
It was a dark time for me. So I can't say that, I was happy in my relationship. I wasn't happy in my relationship because I wasn't happy at all. But it wasn't a reflection of what he was doing or wasn't doing. And, the same goes for him. I think, this second go-round for him, I think he thought he was more ready for something that he wasn't ready for. Or maybe he wanted to be ready for something that he wasn't ready for. But again, when you don't take the time to heal and really get to know yourself and really know where you're at with things, you end up hurting people because you're still hurt. You know what I mean? I think for James, there was a lot of resentment. There was still a lot of pain that he hadn't really coped with. And that carried over into him feeling like, okay, well, just in case she does me wrong, I'm going to go over here and do this. You know what I'm saying? Like, just to have like a little bit of, to make me feel better about whatever the situation is. But regardless, I mean, we love each other. So it's not as if it's anything that we've done or said has been a reflection of something different. I think we both we realized it became a damaged situation that both of us needed to not be in anymore.
Exactly. And it was really good that you both realized that it was a situation that needed to come to, like, you know what, and it's like that, and there's still that love there because you had been going through a lot within that time you had some relationship. Yeah. Like you just said, like, leaving the label, switching your management team and, really having to start from scratch and figure out, okay, this is music that I can't even use for the project. Because me and you've talked about this, but I don't think people really heard us in the last interview when you said that. Like, you had a whole album done and had to go back from scratch and had to really, because they weren't letting you leave with that music. So it's hard when you have, you're creatively passionate about this. How I want to introduce the world to who Bridget is. This is how I want people to know that it's okay to go through this. I've been through this, telling a story, because your music has always been about telling a story that anybody can relate to. So me knowing that, me being me, either not being David or being David, or even hearing that you tell me that's a lot. Because that's like,
well, it took a long time to get past it. But I think for me, like any other artist, music is the outlet. Music is how we cope. Music is how we, it's how we get it. We get everything out of our system. It's how we're able to be honest. So, I think, with these records, especially with Happy for Me, the timing of it couldn't be more real for me, because I think, the epitome of love, the epitome of unconditional love is wanting the person that you were with at some point to be happy and be at peace with the ending of the situation and accepting of it, and be happy for them in their next relationship. You know what I'm saying? I think that's the one thing for me that would always, I think women seek that validation more than men, but it's like the only way I'm really going to believe that you ever loved me for real is if I move on and I'm with somebody that's good to me, and you can genuinely say and feel like, you know what, I'm really happy that they found somebody that that is great to them. You know what I'm saying? Like, whatever our situation was, I love them enough to wish them well. And I think that's really the whole idea behind Happy for me and behind a lot of this project. So, I mean, at this point now, the album that I've been working on for the last year is called Reality Bites. And basically it is about really this last, like, year and a half, 2 years of my life where I really did completely commit fully to wanting to be in a healthy relationship with James and recreate a blueprint for what I wanted the album to be and record records that were cohesive. I feel like I've obviously, I've never put out a full-length album. So this is my first full-length album that I'm putting out at the top of the year. So I'm leading with Happy for Me, and then I'm going to put another record out in a couple of weeks just to kind of keep the vibes going, keep the momentum going. But the album itself is dark. You know what I mean? It's dark, but it's still honest, of course, but I think people are going to be surprised to hear about some of the things that I went through. I think they're going to be, maybe more empathetic. I find that the Love and Hip Hop audience, and I'm working on a piece about it now. I think the Love and Hip Hop audience is a cruel and unforgiving group of people.
Right.
You know what I mean? Without even knowing any of the real storyline that has existed between James and I. Within one episode, it went from, okay, so you went from I got dumped and then I ended up on Catalina Island with Booby, and it just looked like I was just out here thotting and being a hoe and being all types of stuff, and that's what I was getting called in my comments on my Twitter feed, and it's like there were so few women in particular that were able to turn around and be like, damn, I know I know that was hard for you to come out on television and say that you cheated on someone.
Right.
Women don't admit that. You know what I mean?
They don't
talk
at all.
That. We don't own that. We don't take that on as and I think I did that, and I went out and opened up Pandora's box in that way because I felt like it needed to be a conversation. Because women ultimately, we carry that with us, and it's a stain. You know what I mean? The double standard is a real thing. I mean, I talk to guys all the time that are, guy friends that are like, yo, I could never forgive my chick if she cheated. Like, women forgive it all the time. Women let it go. Women eat it all the time, and publicly all the time. So, this was just an example to me of how real the double standard is. And, I still think it's an important conversation to keep going. It's the fact that, women mess up too. Women make mistakes too. And the same way that men can be forgiven, some of those stigmas need to be released about, women only cheat if and men only cheat if. And I'm not subscribing to those things. And the more that I'm able to discuss it with other people, with men and with women, the more I challenge people to think on a higher level about the whole situation.
Right. Wow. That just got my mind thinking on 5 different notes. So you said something that was very, very significant. The fact of women are cheating too, and men are cheating as well. Now, people don't realize it and take that into account. They always say, oh, it's just men. But you as a woman being vulnerable enough to show that on television and, being, really open up to your reality, because people they don't know who Bridget is. Like, let's be honest. They know your music, but they don't know, what goes on, because you're a very private person. And I love that you're a very private person. So how difficult is that, to be very vocal about, this is what's going on, because that's, especially having that platform, because I almost had to cuss out, let me tell you, not that I had to cuss out a couple people, I did cuss out a couple people. I told them, I said, look, I don't want to hear, don't say nothing fucking smart about Bridget. I was on the phone with people and they were saying, your girl, I said, don't fucking do it. You have no idea.
There's a couple things that I have to clarify.
Right.
One of the most important things is the fact that regardless of how it looked on the show.
Right.
James and I were not in a relationship by the time the Booby situation came about, and I didn't speak to Booby, so I didn't. You know what I'm saying? Like that wasn't a fair assessment. I felt like y'all are reaching.
Exactly.
Y'all are reaching,
especially with editing.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I blamed a lot of it on editing because we did film a lot of scenes that between Booby and I that were friendly and fun, and you could actually see a friendship developing, as opposed to it just looking like I just hopped on the next thing, the next train. You know what I mean?
Right.
But I also think that the show has a very specific purpose, and I knew what I was signing up for. So I knew that at some point something was going to get skewed, something was going to get misinterpreted, and you know, we leave room for that. We open ourselves up to that, and I think that's hard. I don't internalize any of the comments on social media because I don't know any of those people and they don't know anything about me personally. So I don't, you know, and luckily I have the type of family and the type of friend circle where nobody questions me in that capacity where it's like, damn, why would you do that? Like, everybody knows what it is in real life. Everybody knew what it was in real life. So I didn't have to answer to anybody about, you know, why were you here kissing this one after you were crying over here? It's like, it's not that far-fetched, first and foremost, to cry when a person that you've been trying to build your future and life with for 7 years is telling you they're just not ready and don't want to do it. It's perfectly normal to then build a friendship with somebody that's empathetic about a relationship. I mean,
right.
Booby and I's relationships are very parallel. You know what I mean? He was in a situation with a woman that he loved, that he messed up with, that he spent 7 years of his life with, and so did I. You know what I mean? So it's like I just spent 7 years of my life with somebody. I messed up and made bad choices, and now I'm having to figure out what life looks like without them. So from a friend point of view, I mean, nobody obviously is looking that deep into it because they just look at what they see.
Exactly.
But from a friendship point of view, you know, we both were able to provide each other with some insight as to how to heal and how to move forward and how to be accepting of whatever God has in store for us next. And I think, you know, it is very difficult to face. It is very tough. I think and I knew it was going to be. I knew every interview that I did, I was going to have to talk about, okay, well, I cheated, but, you know, I did this, and I didn't want to talk about James cheating on me on the show because I didn't want it to look like I was trying to validate my behavior by throwing him under the bus. I didn't want that because I also wanted to work it out with him. I was willing to take that L and say, okay, well, fuck it, you cheated too, but let's figure this out. If we want to be with each other, let's really be with each other. Let's really move forward. Let's do it for real. And, you know, he didn't want to do that. So that put me in a position of having to then just protect myself. I can't protect you if you're not going to protect me.
Right. Because it's got to be mutual in a relationship, in a situation. And that's what people don't understand. Like, you can't give your all to a person that's giving you less. That's when you got to step out.
Right.
Because it's not comfortable. It's not safe. Because what happens if something tragic happens? Are they going to be there for you, or are they going to let you fall?
Oh, I just think people need to be honest with themselves. Like, I can't expect you to be honest with me if you're not honest with yourself. You're still angry. You're still upset. You're still bothered. And even if you don't purposely want to hurt me, you have hurt me, and you feel entitled to that because you've been hurt. So now we're in a space where you're dealing with feelings that I can't fix, that I can't heal for you, but now I'm hurt. So now we need to go to our respective corners and leave each other alone. And that's really the space that we're in now. And I think, you know, overall, we love each other. We're always going to support each other from afar. You know what I mean? And I think, you know, it ain't over till it's over. You know what I mean?
Right.
We've been in each other's lives for 7 years. Our families are intertwined and close. Our friends, we have a lot of friends that are mutual that you know, that work together, that, you know, are never really going to separate and part ways. We don't hate each other. There's no, you know what I mean? It's not beef. So I think, you know, I'm at peace with what's happening right now, and I'm so focused on these next steps with the album, with the single, with promoting, with performing. I want to get back on stage. You know what I mean? I think,
girl, can I tell you I'm ready?
I'm happy when I start performing again.
I'm so ready because the last tour you did when you shut it down in New York, that was incredible, and that was a packed show.
We're gonna do it again very soon.
I'll be there. If it's a whole bunch of East Coast dates, you know I'll be there. If it's Atlanta, look, shit, you know I'm gonna be there because you're just an artist that I've always told people over the years, and even when we've not spoken, so yeah, we've sent a few tweets and every now and then, I've always told people, you need to check out my girl Bridget. You need to check her out. You need to check her out because she's that artist that when she comes, she's going to swing. And every time with each project or each placement or everything that you do, you come back strong. But let me ask you this, because I know we got to get ready to wrap up and everything. With this album, what concepts are you talking about, and what's like the sound influence? Because I know that each project is very different.
This project is really, content-wise, it's about, obviously it's about love, but it's also about some self-discovery things. I went through a dark time and you know, felt really alone, and you know, I wouldn't go so far as to say suicidal, but I will say there were elements of that idea of just disappearing. And you know, I talk about things like that, and just I think overall you'd have to listen to it to fully understand some of the concepts some of the stories that I'm telling. I think, you know, it's too early to talk about it. It's the kind of thing that's going to require so much conversation once it's out that I think I'm keeping as much to myself about the topics as I can, because I feel like once it's out, there's going to be a lot of like, oh my God, who is she talking about? What does that mean?
Right.
There's going to be a lot of that.
So basically, no subjects are off limits with the album.
No subjects are off limits.
I can dig it. And I'm excited to hear. So now you said within the next couple of weeks, we're going to get this new single.
Yeah. Next month, you guys, next month I'm putting another one out. So it's a little more upbeat than the Happy for Me, but it's good. I think it's going to be received well. So.
Wow. And the album out first quarter. This is going to be amazing. I'm so proud of you. I'm proud of, you know, your growth as a woman, as an artist. You know, I'm just really proud of you because, you know, this is a moment where you're about to do it. And you've been doing it, but you're about to really do it in a major way that people aren't expecting it.
Yeah. I'm in a more peaceful place by myself right now, and I think I'm healing. The relationship ending was a very real thing, and I think people discount that as well. You know, I think that was our breakup. We broke up in that moment during that scene. I mean, obviously the conversation was a little lengthier than what, you know, you guys got to see, but that was it. You know what I mean? After we filmed that in the summer, it was over. So, you know, I'm still healing from that. I think it's going to be a long time before I am in another relationship, but you know, I'm a lover of love, so
right.
I put that energy out there no matter what, and just hope that it comes back to me.
And definitely will. And Bridget, I gotta say thank you so much always for, you know, allowing me to support you, and you know, always, you know, showing us love too, because you don't have to. You can be like, I ain't talking to you. That boy's crazy, but you do willingly and show so much love.
No, I think you've been around for you've seen a lot of things up close and personal with me. So I'm really appreciative of the support always. So thank you for always reaching out and staying on top of things with me. I really appreciate that.
Absolutely. Listen, I have to, because when I believe in somebody, no matter what, I've got to, you know, check in. I've got to see, you know, what's good. I got to say something. You know, because you're definitely an artist that is one of the best out here R&B wise. So it's not, you know, there's not a lot of female R&B artists that are really killing it and that actually have vocals on top of that.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Of course. So before we have you do a quick drop for us, just in case people aren't following you on social media, tell them where they can follow you.
Yes, so you can find me on Instagram and on Twitter. It's at I am Bridget Kelly, and I'm not too hard to find. It's IamBridgetKelly.net is my website as well, and my single Happy for Me is streaming everywhere now. It's iTunes, Spotify, Tidal. It's on SoundCloud as well, and so, you know, I hope everybody loves the song, supports the song, and yeah, thank you. This is Bridget Kelly, and you're checking out my boy, David Duane.